What if you could walk into any room, face any conflict, and never lose your calm again? Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you got stronger. In today's world, everything feels personal. A rude comment, a delayed response, a look that lingers too long. And in those moments, you react, fast, loud, and often with regret. But the Stoics believe that real strength isn't measured by how loud you speak or how hard you hit back. It's measured by how still you can stay when everything around you tries to shake you. This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering your responses. It's about building emotional discipline daily. It's about recognizing that your peace of mind is too expensive to trade for someone else's chaos. And if you've ever felt like your anger controls you, like a switch you can't turn off, you're not alone. Most people live that way. But you don't have to. Not anymore. Because in this video, you'll learn how to build an unshakable mindset. One that gives you the power to stay calm, focused, and grounded, no matter what. So, if you're tired of letting others pull your strings, stick around. What you'll learn today can rewire the way you think, react, and lead. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's begin this journey, not to control the world, but to master the only thing that ever mattered, yourself. 1. You don't control what happens, only your response. There's a kind of quiet power in a man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't raise his voice, who doesn't waste time explaining himself to chaos, not because he's passive, but because he knows what's worth his energy and what's not. This idea isn't new. The Stoics lived by it. Epictetus said it plainly: some things are within our control, others are not. It's the foundation of all inner peace. Most men live upside down, trying to control people, situations, outcomes. And when things go wrong, they react. Loudly, emotionally, unwisely. You try to fix someone's opinion of you. You chase fairness in an unfair world. You expect outcomes to follow your timeline, but they don't. And when they don't, you lose your calm, your clarity, and too often, your dignity. The truth? The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more control you lose over yourself. That's what drains you. Not the world, but your resistance to it. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine a man sitting across from his boss who just threw him under the bus in front of the team. The room goes still, eyes shift, there's pressure to defend, to retaliate, to react. But he doesn't. He breathes, he nods once. He doesn't make it personal, because he knows his response is all he owns. And in that moment, he owns it completely. Later, he acts, but with precision, not panic. That's Stoic control. That's what makes him dangerous in the best way. This kind of strength doesn't come from avoiding emotions. It comes from understanding them. Recognizing that the storm outside can only reach you if there's a storm inside. The world will always test your peace. The headlines, the delays, the disrespect, the misinterpretations. The noise of modern life will always scream louder than your voice, unless you decide otherwise. And it is a decision. One made moment by moment, conversation by conversation. It's a man in traffic choosing to relax his grip on the wheel. A father being interrupted again and again, choosing patience over ego. A leader who doesn't correct every insult with equal force, but chooses when and how to respond, if at all. This isn't weakness. This is self-governance. Most men waste themselves chasing what's out there, but the Stoic chases what's inside: response, clarity, discipline. He doesn't blame the world for being the world. He doesn't demand that everything fall in line with his expectations. He trains himself to face what is. He studies where his power ends and begins. And what he finds is this: life becomes lighter when you stop trying to carry what was never yours. You don't need to fix every situation. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to protect your image in every room. Your reputation is not your responsibility. Your reaction is. There's a kind of freedom in that, a calm clarity, a sense of standing tall inside your own skin, no matter how unstable the ground around you. Because you realize, calm is not a reward. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be built, strengthened, hardened. You're not born with it. You build it, with practice, with failure, with brutal self-honesty. The biggest mistake most men make is this: they spend their lives in a tug-of-war with things they cannot change, trying to get their spouse to see it their way, trying to control someone else's behavior, trying to force timelines, outcomes, and feelings. But the Stoic breaks the rope. He drops it, not out of defeat, but clarity. He knows what he can reach and what he can only accept. And acceptance doesn't mean surrender. It means choosing your battles. It means knowing where to spend your limited willpower. It means guarding your peace like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. When you stop reacting to everything, you become unshakable. Not numb, present, alert, steady. Like a captain adjusting the sails in a storm, not trying to stop the waves. The practice begins with one shift. Next time something doesn't go your way, don't ask, why did this happen to me? Ask instead, what am I going to do with it? That's the only question that leads to growth. Because the world doesn't stop. People will disappoint you. Life will surprise you. Plans will break. But if your identity is built on how you respond, not on how the world treats you, then nothing owns you. Not disrespect, not chaos, not even failure. So train for that. Start small, one situation at a time. Notice when your body tenses, when your thoughts speed up, when your mouth moves faster than your mind. Pause. Step back. Reroute. You don't have to let everything in. Not every fight is yours. Not every emotion deserves your voice. Choose where to place your energy. That is the beginning of power. That is the gateway to freedom. That is the moment you stop being at the mercy of the world and start becoming the man who owns his peace, no matter what. 2. Anger is born from broken expectations. You expected them to understand, to respect your time, to listen to the first time you spoke, but they didn't. And suddenly, without warning, something inside you tightens. The jaw clenches, the mind races, the heat rises. You don't always raise your voice, but you want to. You feel wronged, misunderstood, and pushed aside. Anger rises not because the world hurt you, but because the world didn't meet the script you had in your head. Anger doesn't come from what happened. It comes from what you thought should happen, but didn't. That's the part most people never stop to see. They confuse disappointment with injustice, frustration with offense. The truth is quieter and far more useful. Anger is often nothing more than a broken expectation. You walk into a meeting expecting to be heard and get ignored. You come home expecting peace and get noise. You send a message expecting a response and get silence. You offer effort and expect gratitude and get indifference. But where is it written that people owe you understanding? Where is it promised that the world will follow your rules? It's not, and the Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus said, "When someone acts rudely toward you, remember, they are responding to their impressions, not reality." Don't be angry with them. Be aware of your own assumptions. This is hard truth. It strips away our excuses, but it also gives us power. Because the moment we stop blaming others for not meeting our unspoken expectations, we begin to reclaim control. Anger feels powerful, but it's deceptive. In the moment, it gives the illusion of action, of strength, of righteousness. But it's a fire that burns first within you. You carry it long after the conflict ends. You play the scene back in your mind again and again, trying to rewrite what was said, what should have happened. It drains you, poisons your focus, and steals your calm. All because someone else didn't follow a script they never agreed to. Think about the last time you got truly angry. Trace it back. Underneath the words, underneath the reaction, what did you expect that didn't happen? Was it realistic? Was it ever truly in your control? Most anger isn't about morality. It's about control. And the more we expect from others without clarity, the more we set ourselves up for pain. The Stoic doesn't aim to feel nothing. He aims to feel what is necessary and no more. He observes anger like a storm on the horizon, not to run from it, but to prepare for it. He knows it comes fast, disguised as justice. But he also knows it's rooted in something smaller, hurt pride, unmet needs, a desire to be seen. He doesn't reject those truths. He just refuses to be ruled by them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This isn't poetic, it's tactical. When someone lashes out and you match their energy, you surrender the very thing you thought you were protecting, your dignity. Anger makes you become what you were resisting. Calm allows you to remain who you choose to be. Now imagine this. You walk into your house after a long day. You've given your best at work, drained yourself in silence. You step through the door, craving quiet. But the kids are yelling, the TV is on, and your partner asks you to do something right away. That voice inside starts to build. Just 5 minutes of peace. Is that too much to ask? You feel it. tightness in your chest, sharpness in your tone. But you pause, you breathe, you remember, they're not against you, they're just being themselves, and your reaction, this time, is yours to shape. That moment doesn't become perfect, but it doesn't become destructive either, and that's the point. You didn't change the noise, you changed the response. And that difference, repeated, becomes the strength no one else can see, but everyone can feel. This isn't about silence or passivity, it's about choosing wisely. When anger comes, let it teach you what you were expecting. Then ask yourself if that expectation deserves to control your peace. Often, it doesn't. The more you practice this, the more space you create between what happens and what you do next. And that space, that's your power. Each time you catch yourself before the snap, before the outburst, you win a private war. Not with them, with yourself. You make room for something deeper than reaction, discernment. Anger makes you impulsive. Stillness makes you wise. In that stillness, you begin to notice, most of what upsets you isn't worth the energy. Most arguments don't need your voice. Most offenses don't need your attention. The world will keep acting out. People will interrupt, disrespect, forget, and disappoint. You can't fix that. But you can stop expecting them to be different. You can meet reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. That's not giving up. That's growing up. That's what makes the Stoic unshakable. So next time anger visits, don't push it down or act it out. Sit with it. Ask, what did I want that I didn't get? Let the answer guide you, not control you. Let it sharpen your awareness, not harden your heart. Anger might knock on the door, but you choose whether to let it stay. You choose whether it rules the room, or you do. 3. Silence is power. Some men waste their words, others weaponize them, but the rarest kind knows when to stay silent, and why that silence matters more than anything they could say. Silence isn't absence. It isn't weakness. In its purest form, it's discipline. It's control. It's the difference between saying something powerful and saying something you'll regret. In a world that glorifies instant reaction and constant commentary, the Stoic chooses something else: stillness. He doesn't speak just to speak. He doesn't prove his point in every room. He doesn't fight battles that don't matter. His silence is his filter, his clarity, his restraint. Most men think they lose when they don't speak. They think they appear passive, weak, ignored. But it's not silence that weakens a man, it's reactivity. It's the need to defend every opinion, to correct every disrespect, to assert status in every moment. That kind of pride burns fast and dies empty. The Stoic knows this. He sees the trap hidden inside noise. He knows real power isn't found in how loud you speak, but in how little you need to. Picture yourself in a tense conversation. Someone misrepresents you. Their tone cuts deep. They want a reaction. They want your anger, your words, your proof that they got under your skin. And in that instant, the silence you choose becomes your greatest weapon. You don't flinch. You don't escalate. You don't give them what they came for. You let the tension rise and then pass. You stay grounded in yourself, not because you didn't feel the sting, but because you knew giving it power would cost you your peace. That kind of silence doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from training, from making peace with not being understood, from letting go of the need to be right, loud, or first. It's not indifference, it's composure. And it's built moment by moment, choice by choice, every time you step away from the urge to defend your ego and instead choose to protect your energy. People often confuse silence with submission, but Stoic silence is different. It's a refusal to react on someone else's terms. It's what allows you to observe before you act, to see the emotion behind the insult, to hear what's not being said, and more importantly, to recognize that not everything requires your input. Some situations dissolve on their own if you don't fuel them. The mistake most men make is that they assume every challenge is a confrontation. Every disagreement is a fight. Every uncomfortable silence must be filled. But it's in those gaps, in that stillness, that real awareness is born. That's where you begin to separate what matters from what doesn't. You don't walk away from the moment. You walk into it with control. You make room for better words or no words at all. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Simple, stern, clear. He didn't call for silence because he feared conflict. He used it as a tool to sharpen thought, conserve energy, and remain unshaken by noise. He knew that when emotions run high, silence allows logic to catch up, and often that space is all you need. Imagine standing in your kitchen after a long day. Someone you love criticizes something minor. The way you loaded the dishes, your tone earlier on the phone, the fact that you forgot something small. Your pride wants to defend, your mouth wants to counter, but instead you breathe. You pause, you listen fully. Not because they're right, but because you value peace more than being correct. You respond later if needed, but not now, not emotionally, not while your calm is under threat. That silence doesn't make you less of a man, it makes you more. It makes you unshakable. It gives you time to think, to weigh, to choose instead of react. And that kind of man, one who controls his response rather than being owned by it, is dangerous in the best possible way. The Stoics weren't known for their words, they were known for how they lived. Their strength wasn't in arguments won, but in peace maintained. They practiced silence not as escape, but as presence. They mastered it as a daily form of self-respect. Because the man who doesn't throw his energy at every problem, who doesn't let every insult become a battle, who isn't owned by every emotion, that man is free. So start there. Start small. One situation, one moment. When someone tries to bait you into anger, pause. When the world demands a reaction, wait. When your pride whispers, you should say something, ask instead, or should I wait and say something better, or nothing at all? Let that silence stretch. Let the discomfort breathe. Let the other person hear the echo of their own words. Sometimes, that echo is enough. You don't need to meet every fire with fire. Some you let burn out on their own. Each time you choose silence, not from fear, but from strength, you grow. Each time you resist the urge to explain yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you, you take back power. The kind of power that doesn't seek attention, but commands respect. The kind of power that doesn't speak often, but when it does, everyone listens. In the end, you're not remembered for how many arguments you won. You're remembered for how often you stayed grounded when it mattered most. That's not softness, that's sovereignty. And it begins with a silence that knows exactly what it's doing. 4. Laugh at the small stuff. A man who knows how to laugh in chaos is a man who's already won half the battle. Not because life spares him, but because he's learned to spare himself from unnecessary suffering. Humor, for the Stoic, isn't a form of escape, it's a form of rebellion. A refusal to let the petty become powerful. A small smirk in the face of daily absurdity is not weakness, it's mastery. It says, I see what's happening, I choose not to be moved by it. Life doesn't stop handing you problems just because you're tired. You spill coffee on your shirt before a meeting, your flight is delayed, your friend forgot your birthday, you misplace your keys when you're already late. These aren't tragedies, but most men treat them like personal insults. They snap, they curse, they let the moment define their energy, and by doing so, they give away control, again and again. But what if you trained yourself to pause instead? What if, when something small went wrong, your first reaction wasn't frustration, but perspective? That's the Stoic shift. From chaos to clarity. From impulse to insight. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He wasn't talking about great loss or disaster. He meant the small, sharp cuts of life, the 1,000 tiny annoyances that can either train you or trigger you. Think of the man stuck in traffic, horns blaring, time slipping. He's gripping the wheel, jaw tight, cursing under his breath. Nothing changes, except for his blood pressure, except for his stress, except for his mood for the rest of the day. Now picture another man, same traffic, same delay, but he smiles. Maybe he turns on the music, maybe he reflects, maybe he just breathes. He knows he's not in control of the cars, but he is in control of himself. The Stoic doesn't laugh because he's naive, he laughs because he sees the game. He knows what's worth the wait and what isn't. He chooses not to carry what doesn't matter. He knows that humor, when grounded in awareness, is sharper than anger and more resilient than control. Most men overthink every inconvenience. They give meaning to moments that don't deserve it. An unanswered text becomes disrespectful. A forgotten task becomes betrayal. A delay becomes injustice. But the truth is simpler. Life is messy. People forget. Systems fail. And your expectations, if left unchecked, will always leave you vulnerable. Laughter doesn't erase the problem. It changes your position inside it. It creates distance. It gives you room to breathe. And in that space, you remember that most of what upsets you is optional. You can let the moment pass. You can stay light. You can still move forward, even if things didn't go your way. This is not about becoming indifferent. It's about becoming intelligent, emotionally strong, less reactive, more resilient. A man who can laugh doesn't lose his edge. He sharpens it in silence. He saves his serious face for what truly matters, and that discipline gives him an advantage. In practice, this begins with the small things. The little frustrations you normally don't even notice yourself reacting to. You drop your pen, you stub your toe, your Wi-Fi cuts out, your meeting is rescheduled. These are opportunities. Each one is a rep in the gym of perspective. You catch the reaction, you replace it with a smirk, you move on, you get stronger. And when the bigger storms hit, and they will, you won't fall apart. Because you've trained, because you've practiced poise in the little things, because you've conditioned your mind to separate annoyance from attack, discomfort from danger. The common mistake is to believe that being serious makes you strong. That strength looks like intensity, control, and domination. But real strength is light. Real strength knows how to carry weight without making everything feel heavy. The Stoics walked through war, exile, and betrayal, and yet they spoke of joy, not in the loud, shallow way, but in a steady undercurrent. A joy rooted in choosing how to see the world. That's the essence. Life will not stop being unpredictable. But your relationship with it can evolve. You can meet it with tension, or with grace, with resistance, or with a wry grin that says, "Nice try, but not today." The next time something minor interrupts your flow, ask yourself, is this worth your peace, your energy, your reaction? Or can you let it roll off? Can you laugh, not out of sarcasm, but out of sovereignty? A light mind is not a weak mind, it's a trained mind, one that's learned to pick its battles, to spot the absurd and move past it, to stop chasing control where none exists. So laugh. Not because life is easy, but because you are finally strong enough to make it easier. That moment of humor might be small, but it's a seed. Planted again and again, it becomes a mindset, one that protects your calm in a world designed to disturb it, one that keeps you grounded while others lose themselves in things that simply aren't worth it. 5. Not every battle is worth fighting. A man driven by ego will always chase the last word, but a man rooted in discipline knows when to walk away, not because he's afraid to fight, but because he knows what the fight will cost. Not all battles are about truth. Many are about pride. And pride, unchecked, has a high price. Peace, energy, clarity. The Stoic doesn't avoid conflict out of fear. He avoids it out of focus. He asks not, "Can I win this?" but "Is this worth winning?" You sit across from a coworker who misrepresents you in a meeting. Part of you wants to correct him, loudly, immediately. Another part, the stronger part, remains still. You know it's true. You know your values. And you know that one sharp reply might feel good now, but damage long-term trust, reputation, or direction. So you stay silent. Not out of weakness, but because your compass doesn't point toward momentary victory. It points toward peace with yourself. This restraint doesn't come naturally. We're wired to respond, to assert dominance, to prove we're right. But rightness without wisdom is just noise. The common trap is assuming that every disagreement needs resolution, that every offense needs correction. The Stoic sees it differently. He knows that chasing approval or dominance in every situation makes you predictable and vulnerable. When you react to everything, you become emotionally exhausted. Every conflict steals focus. Every argument drains strength. You burn time proving points that don't matter, defending against people who aren't listening, and sacrificing clarity for control. And then you wonder why you're tired. Why do you feel off course? Why the smallest comment can unravel your mood. Now think of a man who chooses differently. A man who filters before he reacts. He doesn't fight noise, he watches it pass. He doesn't argue with fools. He saves his breath. He doesn't chase applause. He stays aligned with purpose. That's the man who gets stronger with time, while others burn out in battles they never needed to enter. This doesn't mean you never speak up. It means you choose when, why, and how. And most importantly, you ask yourself, will this help me become who I want to be, or just distract me from it? That question asked honestly changes everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you can avoid getting dragged into nonsense, your life becomes lighter." He led armies, ruled empires, and faced betrayal. But he still reminded himself daily that not every insult was worth a reaction, that not every challenge deserved attention. That clarity was more powerful than control. The modern world tempts you to fight everything. Online debates, offhand comments, misunderstandings, traffic, delays. But if you react to all of it, you hand over your focus, and the man who loses his focus loses his way. The Stoic refuses to let emotion dictate the use of his energy. He invests it with intention. In daily life, this principle takes practice. When your partner misinterprets something, pause. When someone disrespects you subtly, breathe. When the meeting gets tense and your name gets mentioned, hold still. You're not being passive. You're being strategic. You're letting your response serve your purpose, not your pride. That kind of pause builds a different kind of strength. Not the strength of dominance, but the strength of direction. Not the strength to shout, but the strength to remain clear under pressure. It's what turns reaction into mastery. Many men mistake silence for surrender, but it's not surrender. It's a strategy. Not walking away from the truth, but walking away from the noise that doesn't deserve your voice. It's what keeps your mental energy sharp, your emotional energy focused, and your time reserved for things that actually build you. The more often you practice this, the more your identity changes. You stop needing to win every moment. You stop chasing validation. You start asking better questions. Is this situation aligned with my principles? Will reacting move me closer to peace or further into distraction? What would it cost me, not just now, but down the road? Every man pays for his reactions. Some pay with time, some with respect, others with inner calm. The Stoic protects those things first. He knows that long-term peace is built from short-term restraint. He thinks in years, not moments. He knows that sometimes silence is not surrender, but sovereignty. So the next time you feel the pull to correct, to defend, to fight, pause. Don't ask if you're right. Ask if this is worth it. Ask if this builds something or just relieves something. That pause becomes power. That question becomes clear. That decision, made again and again, becomes the foundation of a man who doesn't just appear in control, but actually is. He knows who he is. He knows where he's going. And he doesn't let small things steal that from him. Because he's not fighting for attention. He's building direction. Not every battle is his, and that's why he wins the war. 6. Calm is a daily mental workout. Every man wants calm. Few are willing to train for it. But calm isn't a personality trait. It's a discipline. A practiced skill. A result of repeated inner effort, not occasional luck. In the same way your body doesn't become strong without resistance, your mind doesn't become steady without pressure. The Stoic understood this. He didn't wait for a peaceful life to feel at peace. He built peace in the middle of discomfort. Each day, life offers 1,000 small weights to train your inner strength. The loud neighbor, the missed call, the traffic jam, the unexpected bill, the passive-aggressive comment. Most men see these things as problems, but the man seeking mastery sees them as repetitions, tests, invitations to rise rather than react. Emotional muscle isn't built in silence, it's built in situations that tempt you to explode, but demand you to breathe. Imagine you're in a store. The line moves slowly. A man cuts in. Your chest tightens. Your mind surges with what you could say, but you stop. You notice the emotion, but don't obey it. You observe the tension, but don't let it move you. That moment, invisible to others, is everything. You didn't suppress your response. You shaped it. You didn't run from discomfort. You stood still within it. That's Stoic calm, earned, not inherited. Many men confuse calm with luck or temperament. He's just chill, they say, as if composure is something you're born with. But that belief is lazy. The truth is sharper. Calm comes from choice. From showing up every day and deciding not to be mastered by impulse. From recognizing that anger feels powerful but leaves you weaker. That reaction feels good, but it costs your peace. That every emotional trigger is also a training ground. The Stoics didn't fantasize about a life without problems. They prepared for one of them. Marcus Aurelius faced war, illness, and betrayal. Yet his journal is filled with reminders to stay composed. You have power over your mind, he wrote, not outside events. And that statement wasn't sentimental. It was tactical. A man who can't hold his center under pressure becomes a liability, to himself, to those he leads, to what he builds. So the Stoic builds calm like a warrior builds endurance. In repetition, in simplicity, in discipline. He trains in the mundane. When he spills coffee, he trains. When he's misunderstood, he trains. When the day unravels, he trains. Not perfectly, but persistently. Because he knows that waiting for calm moments is not a strength. Creating them under stress is. That shift in mindset changes everything. Instead of seeing stress as a signal to explode, you see it as a signal to anchor. Instead of avoiding discomfort, you lean into it. Not because you like it, but because you trust who you're becoming inside it. That kind of man doesn't panic when life shifts. He adjusts, he adapts, he responds, rather than reacts. This training doesn't look impressive from the outside. Nobody claps when you stay silent in an argument. Nobody sees the victory when you breathe through frustration. But you feel it, in your body, in your clarity, in the way you sleep at night, knowing you didn't give your power away. That's the real reward. Ownership of yourself, even when everything outside is out of control. Think of emotional triggers as weights. Most men lift them instinctively, throwing them around, hurting themselves and others. The Stoic lifts them with awareness, slowly, deliberately. He doesn't aim to feel anything. He aims to feel with clarity, not chaos. His emotions don't rule him. They inform him, and because of that, he gains distance. Power. Choice. When the world provokes you, you'll feel it. That part won't change. But what happens next, that's where the training shows. Do you react the same way every time? Or do you pause, reflect, decide what serves your direction? That space between feeling and reacting is where calm lives. And like any muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. This doesn't mean you become passive. Quite the opposite. It means you become precise. Instead of yelling, you speak with weight. Instead of overreacting, you act with purpose. Instead of being a storm, you become the shelter. And that changes not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. So start now. Not tomorrow, not next week. This moment. The next time something annoys you, stop. Don't rush to vent. Don't reach for a distraction. Stand in the heat, breathe once, then again, and ask yourself, what would the man I want to become do right now? That question, asked daily, becomes a map, a way forward. Because in the end, calm isn't given, it's built. Brick by brick, breath by breath, decision by decision. Not when it's easy, but especially when it's not. That's the kind of calm no one can take from you. Because it wasn't handed to you, you earned it. 7. Accept reality and people as they are. Pain often begins not with what is, but with what we believe should be. The idea that life must be fair, that people must act with the same awareness we carry, the outcomes must match the effort. But reality doesn't operate by our preferences. It unfolds on its own terms. The Stoics knew this. They didn't seek to control the world. They trained to meet it without illusions. A man who expects others to always be kind, honest, grateful, thoughtful will be disappointed often and bitter longer. The man who accepts that people act based on their level of awareness, not yours, becomes unshakable. He stops demanding perfection. He chooses clarity over fantasy, and in that clarity he finds freedom. You walk into a conversation hoping to be understood. You speak clearly, calmly, with care. But the other person misjudges your intent, reacts defensively, maybe even walks away. You feel that sting, the frustration of being misread. But then you pause. You remember. Understanding is a gift, not a guarantee. You remember that your job isn't to control someone else's perception, but to remain aligned with your own integrity. Most men spend their lives wrestling with what they can't change. They fight against flaws in others, resisting their imperfections as if protest might make them vanish. But protest doesn't change reality. Perspective does. And once you choose to see clearly, your energy shifts. You stop reacting to behavior that's not yours to fix. You stop carrying the emotional weight of someone else's immaturity, ignorance, or disrespect. Marcus Aurelius would begin his day by reminding himself, "Today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, and unsocial." He didn't say this to grow cynical, but to stay ready. He knew that expecting perfection from the world is a quiet form of entitlement. And the man who demands life be fair before he's willing to feel peace will wait forever. To live with clarity is to look at people and accept that they are where they are, not where you wish they were. You may want your brother to be more supportive, your colleague to be more honest, Your partner needs to be more emotionally available. But they are who they are. And if you spend your time trying to change people who aren't ready to change, you lose the time you could have spent growing yourself. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect or stay in harmful dynamics. It means you stop being surprised when people act like people. It means you stop assigning your standards to those who haven't chosen them. And when you do that, when you stop needing people to match your script, you finally reclaim your peace. Clarity is not detachment. It's a deeper engagement. You stop interacting with who you wish someone would be and start seeing who they actually are. From there, you make real choices. You adjust expectations. You communicate with precision. You decide where to invest and where to release. That's not coldness. That's wisdom. The common mistake is thinking that acceptance means weakness. That if you accept someone's limitations, you've given up. But it's the opposite. Acceptance is what allows you to act clearly, to set better boundaries, to stop repeating emotional loops. The Stoic doesn't accept out of resignation. He accepts in order to respond with strength. Imagine you're trying to teach your teenage son discipline. You set rules. You lead by example. You repeat yourself. But he doesn't follow through. You feel the urge to control, tighten, push, and argue. But at some point you remember, growth can't be forced, only inspired. You pull back. You reinforce your standards, but you drop the emotional struggle. You don't surrender your role. You just stop trying to bend his timeline to fit your expectations. This same principle applies everywhere. The colleague who never pulls their weight, the friend who always lets you down, the stranger who cuts in line. Each one offers a test, not of your patience, but of your clarity. Can you see them as they are and respond accordingly? Can you walk away without resentment? Can you protect your energy without needing to punish theirs? The Stoic finds strength not in fixing people, but in understanding them. He doesn't demand maturity from the immature. He doesn't expect depth from the shallow. He chooses peace not because he's numb, but because he's clear. And that clarity gives him options. He can love without illusion, correct without anger, let go without guilt. Ask yourself, how many times have you suffered not because of what someone did, but because of what you hoped they'd do? How often have you returned to the same frustration, thinking maybe this time they'll change? How much of your energy is spent resisting reality instead of responding to it? Now imagine shifting that. Imagine meeting each person with grounded expectations. Imagine offering compassion, but without sacrifice. Imagine holding space for change, but not depending on it for your peace. That's the heart of Stoic acceptance. You stop needing people to be different in order for you to be calm. You stop outsourcing your emotional stability. And in that moment, you become free, not from others, but from the grip of your own illusions. You see the world not as it should be, but as it is. And you meet it, not with frustration, but with presence. That kind of man doesn't just walk through life. He moves through it with steady weight, not dragged by disappointment, but led by discernment. And that weight, earned through clarity, becomes the calm no one can shake. You won't master calm in a day, but you can begin today. And that's enough. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you breathe instead of explode, every time you choose clarity over ego, you're practicing the very thing that makes you unshakable. This is what the Stoics lived for. A mind ruled not by impulse, but by reason. A life guided not by chaos, but by conscious choice. Let the world be noisy. Let others fight to be right. You don't have to join them. You don't need to win every argument, respond to every insult, or fix every flaw around you. What matters is that you stay aligned with your values. What matters is that you protect your peace. Calm is not passive. It's a stance, a strength, a daily discipline. You've heard the principles. You can't control what happens, only your response. Anger is born from broken expectations. Silence is not weakness. Not every battle is worth fighting. Laughing at the small things is a way to rise above them. Acceptance brings peace. And calm, real calm, is trained. So practice. In traffic, at work, in family tension, in private frustration. Keep training. And over time, your calm will no longer be an effort. It will be your nature. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What part of this message struck a nerve? Where do you struggle most? Let us know. Your story might help someone else find their footing too. And remember, peace isn't found, it's built. brick by brick, breath by breath. In this loud, reactive world, your calm is your revolution. Keep building it.